Phones are killing people my age. I'm 23 years old, and I've gone through a recent detox of my phone. My screen time is way down. It's down by I think 67%, and I've done this by putting my phone on grayscale. I started hiding the main social media apps and putting time limits on them. Hiding them by removing them from my home screen, not necessarily deleting them. I recommend deleting them, but hiding them from my home screen, and putting time limits on them. And this has changed so much in my life in such a short amount of time. At 23 years old, we are the age of people that really grew up with technology. And then, so we're living in this technological world with iPhones and everything that everyone else is living in, but we had it since a very young age, in our very formative years. The reason we're at a disadvantage now is because we're at a time in our life that I talk about a lot on this channel. This is when we're deciding how we're going to figure out the rest of our lives. We have to make extremely important decisions. We have to try new things. And those decisions look like, where are we going to live? Who are we going to make our life with? Who are we going to marry? Who are we going to have a family with? Where are we going to go to grad school? What are we going to do for a job? Like, these are all things that we have to start figuring out in this point of our lives. But our attention spans and our decision-making skills are shot. Not to mention our ability to create new and sustainable relationships with either significant others or even new people, because we are losing human interaction, and we have yet to have the major overcorrection to this technological boom. What do I mean by that? Think about when in COVID, everyone was inside, not moving around. People probably gained a bunch of weight. And then remember, there was a massive overcorrection, and we're still kind of seeing it a little bit today. There's a massive boom in the fitness industry. In the world, whenever there's a massive movement to one side of something, there's normally a big, massive correction to the other side. And then it kind of bounces out somewhere in the middle. That's normally just how things work. That's how I've noticed how things work in the world throughout, my time. Another example is, presidential elections. A lot of times you'll get one type of president. We had Obama, and then it really overcorrects the other way, and we go to Trump, and then it overcorrects the other way and goes to Biden. There's always these overcorrections, and we just haven't had that yet. The reason that 23-year-olds and people my age are at a disadvantage is because we're at that critical decision-making time in our lives, which I've gone over, but we grew up in this time where we're supposed to be making these decisions, and we're in boxes where we're making these decisions that the people before us had to make, and it was a different world. Our parents, maybe they're 40 to 50 to 60 years old. They, yes, are probably having a lot of the same effects with the rise of phones and everything like that, shorter attention spans, but they had a period of life in their most formative years where they didn't have that. They knew how to be alone, and they knew how to sit through school and not be, unable to keep attention. They sat through church and were able to keep attention, and they knew how to, entertain themselves just with themselves and other people. So it's easier for them to, go up to, strangers and say, hi, this is my name, like, how are you doing? Create a new relationship, because they didn't have this boom that we're dealing with. And I'm not using that as like a pity type of thing where, 23-year-olds have it so hard. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying this to say this is the situation, and we need to be better, and we need to start our own overcorrection. This is why I did it. This is why I did the detox, and I'll get into what it's done for me in a second. But then I also want to say the younger generation below us is also going to have this problem, but I believe once they get to, more of our age where decisions become more and more important, we're all going to realize the massive negative effects and fully internalize what they are, so then that overcorrection can happen. That's my thoughts on it. But what I want to get into is this detox that I've had and how it has changed my life. And it's only been a couple weeks, but I used to post on social media every single day, and I stopped completely. On Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts, I posted every single day, making short-form content. It was my dream to build up a social media following in the fitness kind of self-improvement space and sports analysis space, just things that I'm interested in, so I can build an audience, do what I love for a job, and hopefully create a business off of it with a whole big target market. But I've stopped doing that because I realized that's not what I actually want to do. And a big reason for that, along with a lot of other life circumstances at this point in my life, this detox, what it has done for me is made me realize what I actually want. When you're on social media all day, all you see is, especially I think for 23-year-old guys my age, it depends on your interests and everything like that. You see these super successful young people that make a lot of money through social media. That you see a lot of jacked guys that are probably, taking steroids, are 3% body fat and 250 pounds and, unattainable. And you see all of these beautiful women every single 2 seconds, and you're not only is your dopamine being fried and you're not learning how to, entertain yourself and appreciate the real world, but at the same time, you're stuck in these unrealistic expectations of where you're supposed to be, feeling like you're behind everyone, and you're feeling like you should already have a business going and everything by now and be super successful. But at the same time, your power to do deep work and long sustained productive work to get anywhere near that is shot and destroyed because of what phones have done to our brains. So I've, in this time, I'm applying to grad school right now, and I have to take an exam for it called the GRE, and I've had to study a bunch for it, take a bunch of practice tests, and, leaving my phone on Do Not Disturb and the grayscale and not having the apps and just not randomly scrolling, I'm so much more productive. And I haven't, sat down and studied for something in a while, but I already feel so much more productive and efficient than I ever was during my, last few years of college. I'm actually reading right now this book called Deep Work by Cal Newport, and in the very beginning he talks about how people are so consumed by their phone, whether it's email, social media, that a lot of these really successful people lock themselves away to work on the examples he used were famous writers and psychiatrists, or psychologists I should say, that developed all of these things because they remove themselves from all of these distractions. And not saying that you have to do that to be successful in any type of way, but I think it really shows how removing the distraction and extreme things that come with using your phone that you don't really realize, how much more productive that can make you. If you look at your screen time right now, 7-8 hours a day on your phone, and then, because this is what I was doing, and then you're sleeping 7-8 hours, all of a sudden you're only awake, you're only conscious doing things that could possibly be productive for 8 hours a day, a third of the day. That's horrible. No wonder we can't get anything done, and everyone thinks we're lazy and unproductive. It's because we're so consumed. And this detox is, getting back to what I was saying before, give me such a better chance to sit back and think about what I actually want in life. And I realized that much more important to me than looking cool on social media or building a following or trying to emulate a lot of these people that I thought I looked up to on social media is building a family of my own. Being the main character in my own story, not, some random fitness influencer is the main character and then I'm watching. Making myself the center of my world. As selfish as that may sound, maybe that's really selfish and egotistical, but you have to start living your life in the real world where that is a thing. And I realized that I want to, find someone that could be my wife and start a family. And that's going to be so much more important to me than building some, big following on social media, which means I want to take a different career path than I was originally thinking with that. Because my ultimate goal was to just be happy, and I realized that the relationships that I would creating a family, mean a lot more to me. And at the end of the day, I would trade a big social media following for my family. And it took me, essentially deleting everything, sitting down with myself, figuring out what I actually care about in life, and realizing that all the stuff on my phone, it just doesn't matter. And I've kind of rambled on about this at this point. I just wanted to get a lot of these thoughts out, and maybe it's come out as word vomit, but I think a lot of people will agree with me that, the constant scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be, is just keeping us too distracted. and it's designed to be never ending and super addictive. And I think it prevents people from actually sitting back and thinking about the things that they want to do and accomplish and create in their lives. So I hope you take this as your sign to do your own version of some type of social media detox. And I think you'll be surprised to see how much more productive you are, how much more receptive you are to getting entertainment or whatever it may be by going out and talking to a stranger, talking to, a girl at a bar or whatever it may be, to just do more things in real life, because I've noticed that it has made a massive difference for me, and I can feel my life changing right now. I really think phones are killing us. I think we have not been set up at all to accommodate for it. I'm hoping the younger generation gets the overcorrection, or I guess it would just be a correction, not necessarily an overcorrection, and we figure out moving forward how to, keep the benefits of the technological advance, but not have the negatives be so untamed and exaggerated. So, thank you for watching. Peace.